coming into that program next year, and we're here to finalize some understandings, hopefully to clarify some things, and hopefully to make some decisions about how we want to proceed in the program. So it's really wonderful to have everybody here, and I'm really glad that you all could make it. So let's go ahead and move through. Just one quick note here. I have up here the DP Support Coffee Morning. That's what we're in right now. And that's from 7:30 to 8:30. But we actually have another event happening today that has to do with the diploma program. And that's our Theory of Knowledge exhibition. And that's happening in the gym from 10 to 11:20. So if you have all day to spend with us, and you want some more coffee and some more exciting conversations, please feel free to come to the exhibition in the gym at that point. And all of you 10th graders will be coming as well. All right, so first of all, really this concept of our team, and the team includes everybody in this room, actually. The team includes you as parents, you as students, the teachers. We have some teachers here today. We have Ms. McKay, we have Mr. Clough, we have Ms. Augustina, we have Mr. Lawton, yes, and so we have a lot of support here today. But there's also going to be people that you're going to come to for certain things as we go through the program we prepare. So I just want to introduce those people very carefully. Of course, we have Mr. McKenzie here. He's our superintendent, so he'll be, in charge of everything at the end. But just want to see if you can guess who these people are. Do you see them? They might be in disguise. You know what I mean? Yes. So that's, of course, Mr. Williams. He's our University Counselor and Academic Advisor, and he has been with me throughout this process, introducing our students to the university pieces of this and allowing that to guide the decisions, and also been in the meetings with us as we've been going through individually. So that's Mr. Williams, and of course you have, I don't know who this person is. Yes, of course, that's me. That's Mr. Armitage. You all have my card, if I may. You all have my card on your table, so please feel free to take that and contact me as you wish. I'm the assistant principal at secondary, and I'm also the diploma program coordinator. So I'm overseeing everything that's happening in the program. So I'm happy to discuss anything with you as we go. And of course, we have grand entrance. Yeah. That's Ms. Bowen. She's the secondary principal, and she's actually the head of the diploma program on an official level. So there she is. Okay. And last on this team that we have here today, in terms of the management team, are you ready?
Oh,
can you see that? Who is that? Do you see that person?
Yeah.
Of course, that's Mr. Watson. He's in the back. Yeah.
Morning, everyone.
And he's our creativity, activity, and service coordinator. And one of our goals here today is really make sure we understand creativity, activity, and service before anybody leaves. So I really want you to make sure that you have a good connection with Mr. Lawton, okay, as we go through this. All right. So those are the people that you should come to throughout this process. And even when we go into next year and we start the program, these are the people that will be connecting with you and your students and your kids on that level. All right. So in order to introduce the diploma program, these are the things that we're going to be talking about today. This is basically an agenda, table of contents type of thing. We're going to be talking about what is the diploma program. I hope everybody has an idea about what the diploma program is now at this point. I've shared a lot of resources with you, shared all the subject briefs for all the courses that we're looking at offering. I hope you've had a chance to look at those things. If you haven't, please feel free to do so as we go through the next few days. We're going to be talking about global recognition of the program and the university pathways, and Mr. Williams is going to be speaking about that. We're going to be having an overview of the core. So we're going to be talking about theory of knowledge, extended essay, and creativity, activity, and service. And we're going to be talking about the 6 subject groups a little bit. And Ms. McKay is actually here as a special guest to speak about theater. So that's what we're going to be doing as an overview. All right, so perhaps you've seen this. Have you seen it? Give me a quick hand if you've seen it. Yeah, so this is our diploma program subject or program model. And as you can see, we've kind of mirrored that model a little bit today because the student is sitting typically in the middle with everybody around them here today. So the reason that we're all here is because of you students. So we very much look at this as a way for us to collaborate with you and to help you meet your goals in the future. And we just want to give you as much support and information as we can as we go through that process. And you'll see here we have the core around that. Theory of knowledge, extended essay, creativity, activity, and service. And we have our subject groups around that. And so this is the lens through which we see this entire program. The students will see it, and we'll see them as well. So it's very important that we understand those things going forward. So that's where we're at now. And I just wanted to talk about some of the advantages of the program. I think we all know what the advantages are, perhaps. Have you come across any advantages in your studies of the program? Anybody seen, oh, this is a really good thing about the program? Yeah, well, these are a few things anyway. It's very rigorous, meaning that it is challenging, okay? It encourages students to think independently and drive their own learning. This is very important for us. Students must become self-regulated, and they must own their learning. And they must own, actually, ultimately, their life and how they're going to proceed in their life. So this is very important, that element of the program that drives that forward. We are collaborating with them, we're supervising their work, but very much is driven by them and their passions and their choices. Also, clearly, the diploma program helps us access these the highest ranking universities in the world. Very good record of students getting into very good universities when they go through the diploma program. It also helps them boost their admissions, so they get some, typically, you probably mentioned this, they typically get some course credit with the university they're going to when they do the diploma program. And also it develops a strong sense of their own identity. We really want to tether this to the identity of our students and to the culture that they're coming from and that they're living. All right, so those are some advantages. There are, of course, many others, and perhaps you'll see more as we go through this. But I just wanted to introduce it that way, and then talk about some of the other pieces in our curricular options. And Mr. Williams is going to go ahead.
Where the IBDP kind of sits in relation to this whole next steps and pathways. And really, as we go through this, let me mention, we are inclusive IB school. In a sense, we encourage every student to undertake the full diploma. With that being said, there essentially are kind of three pathways towards these next steps. One thing every student that graduates from AISL receives is the AISL diploma. We are a Middle States accredited institution, which means we grant a U.S. high school diploma. So no matter your path, whether you're a full diploma student or not, every graduate of AISL receives a U.S. high school diploma. On the opposite, so you might have a student that chooses only to do that, right? On the opposite end of that is that the majority of our students, and like I said, we encourage every student to undertake the full diploma. The majority of our students do undertake the full diploma. And a lot of that comes from the advantage of the affective skills that the IB builds. It isn't just about the academics, right? How many people have one of these? I'm pretty sure like 100% here, right? If you need to learn how to do something, what do? Search it up, right? You're going to have 10, 20 videos of somebody, here's a step-by-step, or here's a breakdown of this. The knowledge today changes so quickly. So the IB recognizes there's that knowledge component, but there's also the affective skills. And parents, I would ask you to reflect a little bit, like what are some of the most difficult things in your jobs? Dealing with other people, keeping things organized on time and on track, right? Communicating effectively to a broad range of individuals. These types of skills, these affective skills, are embedded in the IB. And so they prepare students for that next step, in a sense of, because the reality is, I'm going to bet that the majority of y'all in here, when you leave AISL, you're going to be hundreds or thousands of miles away from family, right? Or you're on your own. And so building these affective skills that prepare you, these life skills, is important for that next step for finding success. All right, so on the opposite kind of, this is the majority. In between, you might have a student that chooses to do the AIS, they've got the AISL diploma, and then some IB courses. Typically, this is the range, and I'll talk a little bit in a minute, in a sense of the students that I am definitely heading to the US. The US is the only place that I'm looking, because it gets into, it's more like if you're familiar with AP, advanced placement, you're taking something and, you know, it's like you can earn college credit for it, university credit for it, right? So you're not doing the full diploma, but you might be doing select courses for those specific course subject results. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the AISL diploma. Like I said, we are Middle States accredited, so we grant the US high school diploma. So this basically relates to from grades 9 through 12. Okay? It's 4-year courses of study, 24 credits in total. Then I'll look at the credit requirements here in a minute, but it's a range. You have to have X amount from kind of your English or language and literature, X amount of language acquisition, certain amount from science, and then, you know, et cetera, then there's a certain amount of electives. You know, this is typically why, so in 11 and 12, with the diploma program, we do not run PE, right? So there's not physical education. And depending, and Mr. Armitage will touch on it a little bit here, kind of coming up, your combination, you may or may not have an arts. So there's 2 credit requirements that need to be completed for that 24, and so you may or may not have access to it in 11 or 12. That's why it's generally recommended, and I think most everybody in here has already done that. You've completed those 2 PE credits, physical education and health credits, as well as 2 art credits prior to going into 11th grade. And then also there's completion, successful completion of the service learning requirement. So service learning is embedded, it's a part of the AISL diploma as well. So let's look at this, kind of how it breaks down. You got language and literature, this is your English class, 4 credits, right? And so 1 year equals 1 credit, all right? 4 credits of language and lit, 3 credits of mathematics, 3 credits for language acquisition, 3 credits sciences, 3 credits in your social science, your individuals and societies, 2 credits of PE, 2 credits of art, and 4 elective credits. Like I said, Mr. Armitage said on here, right? Completion, you know, part of this is that completion of the service requirement. TOK, which he'll talk about later, is a required course here. Every student will take it whether they're a diploma student or not, because there's a lot of value in that course and the way it teaches us to learn about learning, and that there's a variety of ways to learn and what is knowledge. And then an independent research project is a part of it. Okay. And I know we've had a number of family meetings leading up to this, and some of us are meeting this afternoon as well and upcoming. But one of the things is, we're having this discussion now because choices you make at this point impact doors that are open later. And the objective here is to ensure that when you graduate from AISL, which is going to go very, very quickly, our seniors are now off on their study week and preparing for their exams. They're pretty much on the downhill slide. It's going to go really quickly, but that when you are at that point, that you have as many doors open to you as possible. That we're not getting in a situation where, gosh, I really want to go and study or do this, but no, I didn't do some of this over here. Okay. So what are my plans? You know, so you want to be thinking about, and this has been a lot of our conversation, what are my plans after graduation? And it's okay if you don't have an idea. That's fine. But we want to make sure that your course selections are rounded enough, like I said, to keep those doors open. Are there specific places that you want to study? And I'll talk about that in a minute here, about the way that the diploma is interpreted in different areas. Because the reality is, like when I went to college, it was like you had 3 or 4 choices within the region, and that's just where you went, right? Now, you know, you all are applying all over the world. And every place has a different system and a different idea and a different interpretation. So having that knowledge and being aware of that is power, right? What doors open, what doors might close in relation to those choices. And then this balance between rigor in the curriculum, but also maximizing your outcome, leaning into your strengths, your passions, your desires. Great. Okay, so this question, to IB or not to IB here, okay? So, when you're thinking about university, places like UK, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Scandinavia, Ireland, right? Australia, Asia, South Africa, these types of broad, if that is any type of anywhere on the list, yeah, definitely you want to undertake the full diploma. And the reason for that is successful completions, you might avoid foundation years, right? The other aspect is, in some places, what they say is the diploma is, we will recognize it as equal to our national exams for entrance, right? So that idea of, if this is on your type of a radar, you do want to start definitely down that full diploma path. US and Canada, depends, right? You're going to be hard pressed for a US school to be specific and say, yes, you must do the diploma. It's not the way US admissions works. But there are advantages, significant advantages to doing the diploma if you are considering the US. Canada, depends on the school. You've got to do that research. All right? That's all about investing in it and being very specific. Right? If you're unsure, look at the full diploma. It's much easier, much better to start down that pathway than it is to be, no, I'm not going to do it, and then, oh gosh, I really wish I should have. Or now I'm looking at the UK, I'm looking at the Netherlands, or I'm looking at Australia. Now they're looking for it, and I'm not on that path, right? So you want to be very conscious of doors that remain open and doors that could potentially close. All right, I wanted to share this with you, and every year, well, it's always a couple years behind. National Association of College Admissions Counselors does a report about the admissions and statistics around it. This is related to the US. And so sometimes we get in this conversation where students are like, I'm going to the US, I don't need to do the full diploma, it's not going to be an advantage to me, I want to get really good grades and stuff. All right? And so this is a query as to the universities and the way that so a US admission is very holistic. Academics is a part of it, your references are a part of it, your extracurriculars are a part of it, the essays you write are a part of it, etc. But the way that they view those components in relation to admissions decisions and how they weight them in a sense of importance. 76, almost 77% say high school grades in college prep courses are of considerable importance. So what do we mean by a college prep course? Here we're talking about the IB, right? We're talking about the IB, AP, A-levels, right? Courses that have that additional layer. They're not just a high school course, but they're an additional layer. So 77%, nearly 77% rate that as considerable importance. That's really important, students are doing. Next comes total high school grades in all of your courses. Okay? So your grades in those courses are important. And lastly though, at nearly 64% is this one here. Strength of the high school curriculum. And what I would invite you to do is, these two are very interrelated. Particularly in the US, when admissions are looked at your transcript, and that's going to go 9 through 12, they're going to ask that question, not just what are your grades like, but have you taken the most rigorous program available to you, right? So it isn't just about the number, it's about the rigor of the curriculum. Factors into that as well. And so I wanted to share this with you so you can kind of see in a sense that it's about both the grade, the number, but that isn't also all of the deciding factor. But rather it's about how does that sit in relation to the rigor of the curriculum available to you. And then this goes into other thing. Oops, one more. Yeah. All right. Something, and I think we're going to share this out.
Yes, this whole presentation will be shared at Eagle Connect this week. So.
Yeah. So what I also would invite you to do is the IBO has done a lot to educate universities globally about the rigor of the curriculum, the rigor of the program, what an IB student is like, why an IB student is prepared for university. And so I would invite you to, this links out to kind of, there's a database, and you can search. And universities have provided feedback to the IB about how they interpret IB students and IB scores in the IB program, okay? And you can search it by region, you can search specific school name, and kind of filter through it. But it is widely recognized as the world's leading, by the world's leading universities, as a very rigorous diploma that prepares students, and in the US context, particularly the element of gaining credit. So I'll use, I'll use our own daughter's example, right? So she's about to graduate here this May, shortly, studied economics, but for example, her scores she's in the US, her scores in English allowed her to pass out of her first year English, writing, composition, and such courses. Her scores in economics allowed her to, as a freshman, as a first year student, access second year economics courses. Right, she didn't have to take the first year economics courses. So every school is going to be a bit different, but they are very open about how they interpret it in that sense. So that's one thing, because like I said, sometimes students or people are like, well, I'm just going to the US. Why would I do the IB diploma, right? Depending on your situation, it can give you access to the credits, which can, in terms of financial incentive, as well as the ability to get through a program at a faster pace. All right, so these have been pulled from that database, right? And you can go in there, and some schools won't have a statement, but some schools will, particularly how they interpret it, and so I wanted to share a few with you. So Boston University, for example, says, as one of the leading hosts of international students in the United States, Boston University welcomes applicants from all over the world, from students studying in a multitude of international curricula. We recognize that the IB diploma as a rigorous pathway for students to build academic success at BU. NYU recognizes the rigor and difficulty of the IB diploma program and welcomes many high-achieving students each year to our 3-degree granting campuses who have successfully graduated from the program. This one's interesting. Trinity College Dublin, right? Students who have completed the IB diploma are found to be well suited to the Trinity undergraduate experience. As a research-led university, all of Trinity's courses incorporate a major research element with undergraduates engaging in independent research from the very beginning of their degrees. The focus of the IB on self-directed learning prepares the students very well for this. At Trinity, the development of four fundamental graduate attributes are emphasized in all course design. These are to think independently, to communicate effectively, to develop continuously, and to act responsibly. Those familiar with the IB will see readily that these attributes map very closely to the 10 attributes of the IB learner profile. So universities recognize not just the academic, but it's also about preparing students to find success. And so these are just a snapshot. Like I said, I would invite you to go in, you can look and see, and there's a whole variety of things. Lastly, what I do want to touch on here is Unifrog. And Unifrog is the platform that we utilize. All students have been on it. I know in the meetings I've discussed it with a number of you. Unifrog is the single largest collection of English-based post-secondary programs globally. So it allows you to do research on programs from the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, Asia, Middle East, etc. The other thing, you know, it's Readiness platform provided to students. It's the largest, right? It helps students to identify interests, skills, etc., and connect them to paths of study and careers. There are a number of psychometrics and things in there that can help identify and then link out to different career paths and different subject ideas in university. And what it's basically saying is, once you complete this kind of profile, it's saying, okay, individuals with that type of profile tend to end up in these types of careers or study these types of subjects. It's just, it's a guide, because the reality is what's really dangerous is to jump on Google and Google something and you get all this kinds of information. Whereas Unifrog is there as a platform to help you filter that information and vet that information. The one thing that you can, like I would really encourage you to do, is to lean into it. And you're in a space now, you know, you've got now until August, start to play around with it. Do some research on it. Look at some different programs. What are the requirements for those programs? Right? What are they looking for? So that you are making choices now that are informed. Okay? It helps connect interests and careers, set long-term goals. And there's also space in there for support for essay writing, Common App essay, UCAS personal statement, and it's also a secure platform that we use for transference of documents and such to universities. Okay, I think that is it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle.
Thank you, man. All right. Mr. Williams is so incredibly helpful. So please lean on him, continue to lean on him as we go through this process. So thank you so much. So we're talking about preparation for life here, really. I always say, you know, when you go into the diploma program, you might think, oh my goodness, it's going to be so hard. I won't be able to have a life at that point. And I always say, no, you're not taking 2 years off from your life, right? You have to continue living your life in a way that's healthy and positive, all right? So we want to encourage that. But it is going to teach us the ability to cope with challenge. It is a challenging program. It is rigorous, and we will be working through that together to develop the ability to cope. It also builds enthusiasm and curiosity about learning. It's based on inquiry. It's based on concepts. So we're learning to ask questions about all of these disciplines, and we're doing an extended essay where we have a research question. TOK, Theory of Knowledge, is built on questions, right? So we're asking questions in all these different disciplines. It's going to give us quite advanced organizational skills. So when we go to college, and Mr. Williams can attest this, I can also attest this. My son is also in college now, and he learns incredible organizational skills through the diploma program. You know, if you ask people who are going now, they will tell you, yeah, this is actually, I'm talking to other people that went to other schools, and this is actually quite manageable for me. So it's a great program for that. It teaches us how to adapt. Adaptation is hard. Growth is hard. Learning is hard. None of these things are easy. And the actual act of learning is an act of adaptation. And the diploma program gets us to do that. Sorry. It also helps us develop the skills of communication and collaboration. It helps us to be able to communicate better. And that's something that we're going to work on in CAS with Mr. Lawton. Be working on how to communicate with people inside the school and outside the school. We're going to be working on how to collaborate with each other through different projects that we do. In science, we do a collaborative project. In psychology, there's a collaboration that happens, so that we're collaborating with each other throughout the process as well. And we need those things. I mean, I could put up the list of all the skills that all the employers want, right? These are very important for us as we go forward. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the numbers game for a second. We all love numbers, don't we? Numbers is the best. I'm an English teacher by heart, so I'm not, you know. But yeah, so we do have 6 subjects. Each of them is graded 1 to 7. 7 is the highest grade, 1 is the lowest grade. The highest amount of points that we can get is 42 points. That is 6 times 7. Okay, so 6 subjects times 7, that's 42 total points. We have internal and external assessments for each subject. In other words, we have things that the teacher is doing with the students that they're grading, and then we have things that the students are doing that the IB will grade directly. we have assessments. And I just want you to remember one thing about assessment. It is communicating what we've learned, okay? So it's very important to remember that. We are communicating our learning to our community through assessment. That's what we're doing. We have the core, as we will speak about in a minute, TOK, EE, and CAS. You'll notice I use acronyms for that. We like to do that a lot in the IB, otherwise known as the International Baccalaureate, DP, Diploma Program. TOK, Theory of Knowledge, STEM Essay, Creativity, Activity, and Service. There's a lot of syllables to say, so we tend to shorten it a little bit sometimes. Now the one thing that you want to know, and I've been asked this question in meetings at times, well, what about TOK and EE? Are there points associated with those things? And the answer is yes, there are points associated with TOK and CAS. You can get up to 3 bonus points if you get A in one and B in the other, or A in both, or B and B. And then if you get a B and a C, you get 2 points. If you get, I think that's right, you can correct me if I'm wrong. There's a matrix for that that's available on IB's website. But you do get bonus points. So you can't actually get 45 total points. That is possible. People do get it, all right? But that is the overall. And of course, the minimum that's allowed in order to earn the IB diploma is 24 points. So that's 4 points per subject, if I do my math correctly, okay? And you have to get 12 HL points. That's a thing. You have to complete creativity, activity, and service. This is a requirement, and we will be talking about that in a second. And also, we are, as Mr. Williams was talking about, we are very open to different levels, and everybody's invited. You know, everybody here is invited to sign up and do the things that are right for you. And those are the things that we've been working on in those meetings that we've been having. Just talking about the things that are right for you as a person and where you want to go. So can you hit the next one? So, yeah, we got our 6 subject groups. We'll be talking about that. The IB students must take a course from each group. They must have 3 HLs and 3 SLs. Group 6 can be a second course from another group. All right, we're going to try to make that very clear. That is a concept that is a little bit difficult to understand, but you can take another group 3 or another group 4 as a group 6 subject. And if you have questions about that, we'll be happy to talk to you individually about it. It's very important that we understand that. The final offering will be contingent upon enrollment. We typically say 5 students have to choose the course if we're going to offer the course. All right, so you're going to be kind of deciding that final enrollment here today. And here, I've already shared this with you guys in an email. It's all the subject briefs. It's a resource for all the courses that we're offering. There's a link to that also in this PowerPoint, which you will be receiving in the Eagle Connect this week. All right, so, whoa, lots of information. I can see some of you. You want to just have a quick chat? Maybe not, but just want to have a quick conversation. Just for about 3 minutes. Students, talk to your parents quickly about what you've learned about yourself so far in this process and where you think you are right now. All right, and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish the presentation. 3 minutes. Between the subject in these meetings, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but I just want to go through what we have and what we're offering. May I borrow this for a second? Thank you. And that coincides with the sheet in front of you. So for the rest of the presentation, what we will ask you to do is to fill this out, right? And to put your name here and fill out which HL/SL subjects you want to choose next year. So it's a tick box. You just tick the box, whichever one you want, and then sign and date at the bottom. Both parents and students, we ask you to do that. And we ask you to give that to us today before you leave. The other thing that you may want to do, may I borrow this? There's a blank sheet of paper in front of you. The purpose of this paper is if you'd like to ask some questions or you'd like to something that you're thinking of that we haven't covered or we haven't discussed, please just ask the question on the paper. We'll collect it when we're done and we'll address it as we move forward. Okay? So please feel free to do that as well. All right, so maybe you can guess this subject group. We're going to go in order. You can see books. I don't know if you guys can see this in the back, but there's books here. There's somebody in the middle reading. We have English literature and English language and literature. And this is group 1, studies in language and literature. You have to press it again because yeah, these are animated. Yeah, because it's a surprise. So this is Studies in Language and Literature. Everybody will choose one of these, and we've been talking about that. Okay, let's move on. This is Group 2, Studies in Language Acquisition. The IB mandates everybody will study 2 languages. So everybody will study English, and everybody will study one of these. We offer French B, and that includes Ab Initio, SL, HL, and Spanish B, which also includes Ab Initio, HL, and SL. Quick note, Ab Initio courses are only for students with limited or no exposure to that language. Ab Initio is Latin. Anybody know what that means in Latin? Mr. Lawton? He's like, it's not Latin. I don't know either, but it means it's something about beginning. All right? The thing. Yes? From the beginning. From the beginning. Yes, thank you so much. All right. So yeah, Ab Initio is for beginner in the language. Okay? I think we all are aware of that. All right, we have Group 3. The courses we have on offer are Economics, HLSL, Psychology at HLSL, and Business Management, HLSL. Business Management will be offered as a second course in Group 6. So that actually is reflected on the form. So please note that. Group 4, Experimental Sciences. We have Biology, HLSL, Physics, HLSL, Environmental Systems and Societies, which is a new course that we're looking at offering next year, and Chemistry. And again, Chemistry will be offered as a Group 6 subject. So if you want to take Biology and Chemistry, you can. If you want to take Physics and Chemistry, you can. If you want to take Environmental Systems and Societies and Chemistry, you can. But you can't take Biology and Physics. Okay, you have to choose one of those and then add Chemistry onto it. And we are, again, talking about that as we're going through. Group 5, Math. We all love math, right? We got Analysis and Approaches, and we have Applications and Interpretation, and we're going HLSL for everything, all right? So all of this is open for business. We're ready to sign up for HLSL in both of these courses. This is something that we've talked a lot about in our meetings with a lot of you, and we'll continue to talk a lot about it, the differences between the courses and the requirements. And I love what you guys did the other day when you had the subject briefs, and you were literally sitting there going, I don't like that. It's got less hours in it, so I want to take that. You know, this is a really good thing to do. You know, open up that subject brief and look at the HLSL side by side, because it does give you all the topics and the number of hours of instruction in the topics. All right, this is Group 6. We got the arts, and we got visual arts, and that is a wonderful course where we do art visually. And this includes painting, drawing, it includes sculptures, it includes using your hands to do different things, photography, we've had fashion, we've had all kinds of things. And maybe some of you saw the art exhibition that we had last week, and maybe you saw some of the things that people are doing in that. So it's really exciting, you know, because it's a way to learn how to express yourself in different ways, and express deep feelings and concepts that you're having about the world and about yourself, and bring those out into light. It's wonderful. And of course we have theater, and at this point we have a special guest. I know you're not prepared for this, okay? But Miss McKay is here, and she's just going to say a couple words about theater. And that's going to be that. So that should be a... Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mr. Armitage and Ms. Bowen, for letting me come and talk to you about DP Theater. It is an awesome, awesome class, and I just want to go over quickly what some of the assessments are. First thing I want to say before I do that is that it's all about student choice. So a lot of you know how I teach. I really like you to have a lot of ownership in your learning and in your choices. So this is just a continuation of choice. So the first assessment, thank you. So the first assessment, and you can look at this later when Mr. Armitage sends it to you, is a research presentation. You will look in the guide for a special world theater tradition that you don't know about, and you will research it and study it and actually learn how to perform a bit of it, and then you will present a research presentation to your parents and to your friends, and it will be recorded and then sent off to the IB. So that's the first semester. The second semester, actually the third semester, which is next year, the second year, is a production proposal. You will read a play that you haven't studied before, and you will pretend that you are the director, and you will decide, how is the stage going to be? How do I want my audience? What are the characters going to have for their costumes? All of those things that a director does, you will have that opportunity to look at a play that you've never studied before. Once I had a boy student, he actually studied, he was Italian, and he studied a play in Italian. And he wrote the paper in English, but the play was in Italian. So anyway, the options are endless with this course. All right, then we have the next assessment is the collaborative project. The students now are working on this. They're working very hard. You will develop a really cool theater piece, which is up to 10 minutes, with your group. So it would be you with your colleagues, your friends, and you will decide what is our starting point. What are we going to do in this? And it has to have tension, emotion, atmosphere, and meaning. And those 4 words are familiar to some of you that have been in my class. The students that are doing this now, they actually chose the concept or the starting point of siblings. And after some weeks, they decided, you know, Miss McKay, we're not really invested in this. So their piece is going to be about Boko Haram. So I challenge you, or I invite you to come and watch. They're really having some creative ideas. I'm so nervous right now. Okay, so then the last piece for HL is the solo piece. So the solo piece, you will look at a theater practitioner, and you will study the practitioner, and then you will develop your own piece all alone, and you will show it to people, and then you will also write a paper. There's a lot of writing in this class as well, so but that's okay. We're all here to help you. Anyway, it's a fabulous class. I hope that you consider it. And also, I welcome the opportunity. If you're not interested in DP Theater, you're most welcome to be an assistant in my 6th or 7th grade, 8th grade class, or maybe you even want to take theater arts and be like the leader. Anyway, the options are endless, and I'm really thankful to Ms. Bowen, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Armitage, because they have allowed students to be in my class and not be DP Theater students, and they just get a different kind of grade. I don't know if I said that right. All right, anyway, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk about the core briefly. Mr. Lawton, you're going to be up in a second. Okay, so the first one is theory of knowledge. I love theory of knowledge. It is my favorite. It is wonderful. When you get into theory of knowledge, you start to look at the disciplines. You start to look at science and psychology and math and history, and you start to analyze how knowledge has been developed over time. And you start to say, well, we know this now, but why do we know this? Where did this knowledge come from? How is knowledge developed? This is a wonderful thing to learn, because you have to start asking other questions, right? You have to start saying, well, how did these people come to this conclusion over here? And these folks over here came to this conclusion, and yet everybody seems to believe this. You start to analyze these things. And it's a wonderful way to build critical thinking, to start to learn and understand other perspectives, and to bring all of these disciplines together into your experience. It's a wonderful course. So we're very, very happy to offer that. I don't know if I covered all those in that, but I think I kind of did. All right? And then we have creativity, activity, and service. And I'd just like to invite Mr. Lawton to come up because he is our guru. Did I say that right? He is our guru for creativity, activity, and service.
I haven't seen this before, so I'm just checking. Right. So creativity, activity, and service. It is a requirement for the IB diploma and also for the HS high school diploma that we'll also offer. it's really important that students understand, parents understand, irrespective of whether this is your first time through or your third child through, whatever. When it comes to creativity, activity and service, we're not interested in hours of service, creativity and activity. We're really interested in continuous engagement from the first week in August of grade 11 through to about this time in April in grade 12. And a nice way to think about it is you should be thinking about doing 1 hour of independent work, planning, writing emails, writing reflections, working on your portfolio outside of any class time that we give you. That is authentic engagement in CAS. So it's not hours now, not anymore. It's that authentic engagement for that 18-month period. What we look at essentially is something called experiences and at least one project. When a student sets up an experience, they identify some learning outcomes for a particular experience and decide whether it's creativity, activity, service, or it may be more than one of those, or all three. It depends on the nature of the experience. They will go through a process of engaging in 5 CAS stages. They will research their experience, they will plan it, so that will involve organising a to-do list, a comprehensive timeline. Then they will take action. During that action-taking time, they will also reflect meaningfully on what they're learning along the way and what they're learning afterwards. And then there will also be a demonstration of that experience to the CAS coordinator upon completion. A project is a little bit different. It's like a really big experience, and that's collaborative. So at least one of the students has to be involved with that. And the length of time spent on that is at least 1 month. We encourage that because it's a bigger thing, it happens in DP1 in grade 11, because by the time we get into DP2, students are quite busy with internal assessments and other things that they need to do in their subject group areas. I get a lot of questions around what's the minimum, what must I do, what's this, what's that. It's a diverse group of individuals and it's differentiated depending on the student involved. Some students really struggle with this, and the bar that I might set for completing CAS will be appropriately challenging for them. Other students have some of the skills, many of the skills required to be successful in this, and the bar for them is much higher. They need to be extending and challenging themselves. So we talk about equity a lot in this. So it's not an even and level playing field. There are requirements that everybody meets, but they meet them in different ways. And the most important thing, when you set up an experience or your project, be passionate about it. It's not necessarily, I need to do this because. If you're doing it because it ticks a box, you're doing the wrong thing. Find something about which you can make a change, which you can be engaged, interested, and passionate. You may be the student I talked to this week in advisory who thought it might be a good idea to set up a composting program with waste food from the kitchen and the cafeteria. That could, Tamara, be a fantastic project. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. And of course, the other element of the core is extended essay, which is also my other favorite. And this is a connection to the world of academia, connection to the world of research, where students will be writing a 4,000-word essay in which they explore a research question of their choice in a subject of their choice. And they all get supervisors, and we collaborate on this, and we work together, and they produce a piece of work at the end. It takes about a year to produce this piece of work, which we're very proud of, and I think it's a wonderful part of what we do here. Because when you go to college again, when you go to university again, it's like, well, I just wrote this 4,000-word essay in high school. Now I'm going to write a 1,500-word, whatever. It's a really wonderful thing to build that capacity. And it really builds those research skills, the independent research skills and those writing skills. Writing skills, I cannot overstate how important writing is to our lives, both now and in the future. So building those writing skills is extraordinarily important. That's extended essay. So you might think that that sounds like a whole lot for the core, right?
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Just short. All right, I do want to interject just quickly here from a university standpoint, particularly about the core. And really what sets the IB diploma apart from other pre-college type programs is this element of the core. And if you think about it, and Mr. Armitage touched on it a little bit here, completing a 4,000 word research-based essay in high school, it's probably, I mean, that alone is one of the, when students come back, they're like, yeah, I was asked to write 1,500 words, and it's like, man, I've already done 4,000. I can do this. It's not, I know how to research. TOK is one of those classes that teaches us to be critical thinkers, to not just spout back what we're told, but to ask that question, right? To question, to search, to find knowledge. CAS rounds us as individuals. It also provides a ton of opportunities for in those university applications. What are you passionate about? Who are you as a person? What are you involved in? So, sometimes the core gets the short end of the stick, and it's like, oh, I got to jump these hoops. But really, I'd invite you to have a look at it beyond even what we're able to discuss here today or to come in to talk to us. But this is really that gem that is a part of the diploma program. It's the academic rigor, but it goes back to also those affective skills and that rounded knowledge that really sets the IB apart. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. And what I was about to say is, you might think that that's a whole lot of work to do, right? In our school, we do have a period, which is a block or an academic period out of our 8-day rotating schedule, and it's called the core. So we do these things during that time. So everybody in the school has an incredible amount of support in theory of knowledge, extended essay, and CAS. So we're working with Mr. Lawton, will come in and work with you. I'll come in and work with you, and we'll have theory of knowledge teachers that will also work with you. So we have a lot of support there as well. All right, so success strategies. How do we find success in this? How are we going to do that together as a team, as we talked about earlier in the presentation? Well, we have to build our study skills, and there are a myriad of ways to build those study skills, and there's a lot of resources out there for how to build those study skills as well. Hopefully we've built a lot of study skills already, and we'll continue to do that through the program. Support systems. So you know, all those things are adaptable and flexible at this point. All right? Thank you so much.
Could I just make a final point? And that is to say something which I hope is obvious to you. We are a small IB diploma school. This is a small cohort of students. Over the next few years it might grow, but how many are you in this group, Ms. Bowen? 23, 24? 22. So we're a small number. Given that, it's really remarkable how many subjects we offer. That's not typical of a small school. It's a great strength of our program that you have so much choice. It's unusual. It may cause some complexity for you, but really should please, because it's a very strong part of what we do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so at this point, we're here. You know, if you want to ask more questions or if you want to have more discussions, please feel free to approach us. Okay, we still have food here, so please eat some food. Okay, yeah. And of course, just to remind you again, please come to the TOK exhibition if you have time. It starts at 10 o'clock.